Mr. Lacey is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt first.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
Tiffany Henyard has been making headlines lately, but not for reasons she'd want. Dubbed by some as the supermayor, her rise to prominence in Dolton, Illinois, came with plenty of promise. But now, it seems like the walls are closing in on her, with accusations flying left and right, ranging from misusing public funds to denying business licenses for political gain. It's safe to say that her once strong political career is hanging by a thread.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
The story really took a turn when, during a public board meeting, an attorney who had once been one of her closest allies decided to drop a bombshell. In front of a crowd that was already on edge, this lawyer revealed sensitive information that not only put Henyard in a bad light, but also strongly suggested she was involved in corrupt practices. Imagine the room tension rising, people murmuring, and Henyard sitting there, probably thinking, can this get any worse? Well, it did.
Coming in, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. But like I said, you have just some accountability.
In that moment, it was as if the floodgates opened. People who had quietly supported her began to distance themselves, and rumors of her losing her on power spread like wildfire. What's most shocking is how quickly her allies turned their backs on her. They were now lining up to spill all kinds of tea about her behind-the-scenes dealings. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck. You know it's bad, but you just can't look away. One thing is clear, Henyard's public image has taken a major hit. Just think about it. Here's someone who came into office as a fresh, ambitious leader, someone who was supposed to clean up Dolton. But now with every board meeting, it's like another layer of scandal gets peeled back. And let's talk about these meetings. They've become nothing short of a circus. Imagine attending a local government meeting where, instead of discussing how to improve the town, they're shouting, accusations flying, and Henyard constantly being put on the spot.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor and people's supervisor.
A recent meeting really showcased just how chaotic things have become. Henyard, refusing to back down, went head-to-head with board members and residents alike, often dismissing questions about her conduct with vague responses or deflecting blame onto others. At one point, a trustee even said, "You got us into this mess, and now we're trying to salvage what we can." That line really hit hard. You could feel the frustration in the air, the sense that everyone was just tired of the drama. And let's be honest, who wouldn't be? Imagine being a taxpayer in Dolton and watching this mess unfold, you'd be livid. But the drama doesn't end there. There's been speculation that Henyard is gearing up for a legal battle of epic proportions. With all these lawsuits piling up against her, from accusations of financial mismanagement to claims that she's been using public funds for personal gain, it seems like she's got a lot to answer for. And if the rumors are true, she's already brought in a team of heavy-hitting criminal defense attorneys. People are saying that she's preparing for the worst, potentially even criminal charges.
Sometimes we get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure the right thing is.
What's really causing a stir is the fact that these lawyers aren't just showing up in court. Oh no, they've been spotted at public meetings, sitting right next to Henyard, as if they're ready to jump in at any moment. It's an unusual sight, to say the least, and it's raised even more eyebrows among the locals. People are asking, why does she need criminal defense attorneys at a village board meeting? The optics are terrible, and it's feeding into the perception that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than she's letting on.
I'm sure you guys had an awesome time on the backs of taxpayers, but what do we gain from any of these trips? We gain nothing.
It's not just her legal troubles that are causing concern. There's a growing sense that Henyard has been making decisions based on personal and political interests, rather than what's best for the community. Take the business license controversy, for instance. One particular case involves a local business owner, Tyrone Isam G. Jur, who claims he was denied a license to open a barbershop. According to Isam, he invested a significant amount of time and money into renovating a property, only to be denied the necessary paperwork without a clear explanation. He believes that the denial wasn't about meeting local regulations, but was instead politically motivated, possibly because Henyard wanted the property for someone in her supplement.
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
This isn't just a one-off accusation either. Many are saying this is part of a larger pattern with Henyard's administration. She's been accused of blocking business licenses for people she doesn't align with politically, while fast-tracking approvals for those in her inner circle. Whether or not that's true, it certainly looks bad. Residents and business owners alike are beginning to question whether Dolton's local government is really looking out for them, or if it's just serving the interests of a select few. In light of all this, it's no surprise that Henyard's leadership is being questioned more fiercely than ever. People are fed up, and it's starting to show in public meetings. One Dolton resident clearly frustrated, said she's rude, arrogant, and condescending. Henyard needs a timeout, and that sentiment seems to be shared by many. Her approach to leadership, often confrontational and dismissive, isn't winning her any points. If anything, it's driving more people away, including some who were once close allies.
I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there won't be anything. It'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
Let's break it down a little further. The spending scandal has really gotten under people's skin. It's one thing for a mayor to make a few questionable decisions, but the reports about Henyard's spending are next level. We're talking about thousands of taxpayer dollars being used for luxury hotels, expensive dinners, and get this, a whopping $33,000 spent on Amazon in just one day. How does that even happen? And more importantly, why is it happening with public money?
They knew what they were doing, and they thought they can get away with it.
That brings us to the town's financial situation. When Henyard took office, Dolton's general fund reportedly had a surplus of over $5 million. Fast forward a couple of years, and that surplus has completely vanished. As of 2024, Dolton is looking at a deficit of over $3 million. How did things spiral so far out of control? Residents are asking these exact questions, but they're not getting any straight answers from Henyard. Instead, she's doubling down on her claims that she's cleaning up the town.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
What makes this situation even more frustrating for the people of Dolton is the lack of transparency. When local media outlets and trustees started asking for more detailed financial records, they were met with silence or vague excuses. One trustee, Chris Gonzalez, said, "I get no answers." That's not just a problem for those working inside the government, it's a problem for every single resident who's paying taxes in Dolton. People want to know where their money is going, and they're not getting the transparency they deserve.
Or the administration can adhere to some financial limits. We're not looking to necessarily...
The legal drama doesn't stop with the business license controversies and financial mismanagement. Henyard is also facing accusations of using the police force for personal protection and, in some cases, as a means of intimidation. It's been reported that she's been using officers as her personal security detail, which not only costs taxpayers thousands of extra dollars in overtime, but also takes officers off the streets, leaving Dolton with fewer resources to handle real crime. Former Dolton Police Chief Robert Collins even spoke out, saying that this overuse of police resources was putting the town at risk. He said, "We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime. Instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor." And what about the fact that Dolton's police department is already under scrutiny for spending? Henyard's administration has been accused of racking up massive overtime bills for certain officers, one of whom reportedly made more in overtime than in base salary. In some cases, officers were earning six-figure overtime pay on top of their regular salary, all while the town is struggling to stay afloat financially. It's one thing after another, and it feels like the hits just keep coming for Henyard.
Terminate his employment. I don't believe that is legally correct. That's just not the way municipalities operate, right?
With everything going on, Henyard's relationship with the town's board of trustees has become increasingly hostile. Earlier this year, she vetoed their request to launch an independent investigation into her spending. The board, clearly fed up, turned to former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot to lead the investigation. But Henyard wasn't having any of it. She vetoed the board's decision to bring Lightfoot on, calling it an unconstitutional infringement of the powers of the office of mayor. At this point, it feels like Henyard is doing everything in her power to avoid facing any real accountability. But even as the controversies mount, Henyard still seems to have her loyal supporters. It's fascinating to see how she continues to portray herself as the victim of a political witch hunt. She's made statements like, "This is all about control. People don't like that I've become too powerful." It's almost as if she's trying to rally her base by framing herself as someone who's being unfairly targeted simply because she's shaking things up. Whether or not that's true is up for debate, but it's clear that Henyard isn't backing down anytime soon.
This administration is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
What's also interesting is how some of the fan reactions online reflect the divide in public opinion. While many are critical of Henyard's actions, there are still a few loyal supporters who believe she's being treated unfairly. One comment on a YouTube video discussing her legal troubles reads, "She's really trying to help people, but the system won't let her." Meanwhile, another commenter was much harsher, saying she wants no accountability for anything she's clearly involved with but still tries to act like she's the only boss. Hypocrite. Whatever happens, one thing's for sure, Dolton won't be the same after this. The town is in desperate need of change, and the people deserve better. But whether or not that change will come with Henyard's exit remains to be seen. So what do you think? Is Tiffany Henyard just a victim of political games, or is she truly at the heart of all this controversy? Let us know your thoughts, and keep watching as this story continues to unfold. This drama is far from over, and it's anyone's guess how it will end.